Hey everybody, thank you for joining me today, for joining me and the channeling I'm about to do and share with you. Thank you for coming. For those of you who are just basically getting familiar with me, my name is Carrie Koss. I'm a clairvoyant and teacher, and what I like to call myself is a soul guide, helping women find their soul's path and hearing their intuitive messages and getting more in alignment with their truth. And I'm also a medium and a channel. And so just a little bit about me, if you don't already know me. I, in my 20s, really started opening up to my spiritual sort of intuition, gifts, psychic abilities. It was almost like something I had to do, basically, simply because my intuition was in overload. I was having a lot of anxiety and picking up on a lot of things around me, and I was just basically in overload. And so I needed to find a place or a way to develop these gifts. And so I was fortunate enough to live in California at the time, and so I was able to go to a school actually where I developed these gifts, learned how to do clairvoyant readings, working with chakras, healing guides, and reading past lives, all the things that are just, I felt like it was a really strong. If, by the way, during this, you're probably going to hear animals. We have quite a few animals in our home. In fact, we have, 5 animals. So they're always hanging around. The golden retriever's right behind me, and the cat's on the bed. So that's just commonplace at our house. So I like to incorporate them into my work because they're always here and like picking up on the energy. So that's, a part of our family for sure. So, but anyway, so I've been tapped into this since I was in my 20s. And I would say in the last several years, I have been sensing that there was something coming, something that I was meant to do, that I was meant to, come forward in my work and be able to share it on a bigger scale. At that point, in my 20s, I did a lot of readings, a lot of healings, all throughout my 20s. And then, I fell in love, got married, and happily moving along. And just at that time, I think in history, being a clairvoyant and a channel wasn't necessarily a career path that would always tie in practically with being a mother and a wife. And so I really feel like where we are right now on the planet is that everything is shifting, that we are up-leveling and growing as humans, and as we see from the world around us, although it feels like things are falling apart, actually quite the opposite. We are growing. It's growing pains. So I have really felt a need not only to work one-on-one with clients and to be able to support them in their growth and development, but also I've been called by my guides to put my work out there and share channelings and knowledge with a greater number of people, and mainly so that people can start getting the validation and the guidance they need, much like many of us have when we're tapped into our intuition or we are connected to source on a regular basis, where we get guidance and there's synchronicity, and we have sort of like a bird's eye view of life and how things work behind the scenes on an energy level. That really should be for everyone, not just people who consider themselves to be clairvoyants or who have intuitive gifts. That really, those are innate abilities that people have just forgotten about. We all need to, realize that there aren't just a select group of people who have clairvoyant abilities. Everybody does. And it's now time to awaken so that we can align with those gifts and also start receiving the messages from our divine family, our spiritual guides, higher ascension beings, however you want to classify them. I have different, ways that I connect with them and talk about them. I'll share those with you along the way. And today, simplistically, I just want to share that what I'm going to be channeling is higher dimensional energy and information that comes from this place that you might have heard of, the Akashic Records. And essentially, what is the Akashic Records, or where are they? Have you heard of these before? Christians call it the Book of Life. It's like the book that reviews your life once you leave this world, and you get a reflection of like where you were, what you learned, how do you treat others. Similarly, you have the Akashic Records. The Akashic Records, really, if you're able to tap into them, which we all have the ability, and there are guidelines and tools that you can do to access this information. I want to make that clear. Where it is literally the library of all time and of all things. And it has all information spanning from the beginning to the end, to the middle, to future time. It has everything in it. And so it's really the library of your story. All the lives you've lived, all the work you've done, what you're doing in between lives. So it has all that information. Consequently, places, locations, and groups of people also have Akashic Records. Anything that's recorded in time and history has a record. And that includes what's going on in a big view, on an overview, right? So what's going on the planet. And I was really getting from my guides that it would be really helpful to channel the higher dimensional loving beings who really are charged with watching over the Akashic Records and sharing this information with you in a download or a channeling. It's just a way of communicating truth to all of you, especially since right now we have so much confusion out there and so much disinformation from all points of view, and a lot of very, I would say, tampered with and filtered information instead of it being a divine source of truth, right? So the whole idea is that we have the capacity and the ability to tap into this truth ourselves and to be able to channel that ourselves. And channeling really is just a way of tuning into a channel of frequency and sharing the information. It's like going on to Netflix essentially and tuning into a program. That's really what it is. And so the difference is that you have literally high ascended masters, angels, archangels, spiritual beings, your spirit guides, people that you love that have passed on. You have the benevolent beings from other universes and planets. I don't like to call them aliens. I like to call them interdimensionals and star family. And whether we're aware of the fact that we have helpers around us or not is not necessarily important. And really, wherever you are in time and space at this moment, go with what feels comfortable and what you want to explore. Obviously, I've spent a lot of time, in meditation and getting really comfortable with these energies and these vibrations. So I have a very high level of discernment and navigation, which I can also share and teach with you if you are interested in something of that nature. And it's really, it's basically tapping into our highest potential and our highest selves. And not just merely looking at this life as a three-dimensional, what we see right in front of us experience. Really, it's so much more than that. And I'm sure a lot of you have had a variety of experiences with this, and your beliefs are in different places with this. And the main thing to know is that any type of work that I am doing and sharing is of the highest integrity and comes from the divine. And, I myself have vetted all of these basically experiences, and anything I share is going to be of keep your highest integrity in mind, safety, protection. It's not going to throw you off of alignment if you have a spiritual teacher that you follow, even if you're a Muslim, a Buddhist. if you are Sikh, if you're Christian, what have you. We all have, the only people that might not be comfortable with us are those that don't believe in anything out in the afterlife whatsoever and really think that anything other than what you can see isn't real. So probably those people, this wouldn't speak for them. But I would venture to say that, we all have our ancient wise masters in any of those religions that really do tap into and share the love of the divine. And that's simply what this is. So the way this works for me, I'm going to take a little sip of water. I suggest you do too. And try and get into a comfortable place, because basically you're receiving a transmission and of information and frequency. And often by this information being shared with you, you might very well have little openings and aha moments and awarenesses start to resonate for you too. If you've been praying for some answers or wanting some divine guidance or things of that nature, this can activate that programming or that interest within you. So there are no accidents. So I'm going to take a quick sip of water and then we'll get started with the channeling. So essentially, I do a couple different types of channeling. I have developed my telepathic abilities, which everybody has, and it doesn't take lifetimes and sitting on a mountaintop to do. I just want to remind you of that. But so a lot of the times I will pick up and sense and be told what, the beings that I'm the divine beings that I'm communicating with, what they want to tell me. So I can do a channeling that's literally like having a conversation and interpreting and then sharing with you what I see. And the whole objective really is to keep yourself in a neutral space so that your filter is as clean as possible and as clear as possible. So that's one way that we can channel, and that I can channel. Sometimes it gets a little bit more intimate in the sense of that, and this is what I think today will be, where I'm aligning with the Akashic Records and the divine beings that govern the Akashic Records. And so I'm going to be closing my eyes and then they're going to be speaking right through me. And I'm still here, no one's left. And I am also being able to receive the blessing and the healing that this channeling provides. So that's lovely. And then in turn, the vibration around us all will start to up level and things will start to become clearer. So that's another way that one can channel. So there's a different thing. So if you do have any questions, hey Taylor, if you do have any questions about mediumship, channeling, clairvoyant information, what all that means, I'm going to be spending more time on this page and then explaining things that I teach my students and also that I provide in my readings as far as what the breakdown of all those different categories are. But suffice to say that all interactions here are based in divine love. So that's the gist of it. So without further ado, I've already meditated, set my space up, and I'm going to go ahead and get the channeling started. And you might even notice my voice might change a little bit. I don't all of a sudden start speaking in a different language, but it's a vibrational change. And so it's definitely different. So if you haven't ever watched channeling before, here it goes. So I just welcome you all to observe in whatever form you want. This will be recorded. So if you do ever, you can come back and watch it and have different, if you have different questions, just go ahead and ask me. So I'm going to go ahead and get started now. Like I said, if you do hear a dog jump in the background, or hopefully my neighbor won't start mowing something, but it could happen. So without further ado, I'm going to be connecting in with the Pleiadians, okay? We'll go more into that later. Hey, the Pleiadians, essentially, you can look them up to yourself, but they are a divine light body group that really are, I would say, just like much like angels, and they're in our universe, and they do not have bodies, but they do really work in connection with planet Earth very strongly. So most people on Earth have some kind of a Pleiadian connection. And but that's another conversation. So let's just keep it really simple and say that we are this is connecting with divine beings who are like spiritual best friends, and that they are really here to help right now, especially because we know our planet, I almost said plant, isn't that interesting, is in major turmoil, and they're really here to provide as much support, assistance, and love as possible. So that's why they're coming through today. Also, archangels are here too. So my whole decision right here to do this really has to do is I could really don't care too much about if people are comfortable with me channeling or not. That, I mean, they never even knew I did it. This is fine, but I'm here to help all of you and figure out what the heck's going on this planet. So stay tuned. I'm going to go ahead and close my eyes for a moment or two, and then I'm going to get started. This has been such a long time in the making for our friend Carrie to be sharing with all of you. We are very happy to have you all here. You must be so concerned about your planet. You must be so concerned about the future. You must be so concerned about the inner workings of why is this occurring at this moment in time in history. We understand your concerns and also wondering where to search for answers to help feel soothed, comforted. Where is your well-being? Where do you take comfort and solace? Where do you find your center? We understand how difficult, how fracturing and fragmented and underprepared for this experience now on the planet. We understand. We understand that you worry for your families and your children. We understand that you feel as though the future looks very grim and dark. We understand that your hearts are hurting, and you feel as though you will not know how to assure yourself or your family or your children about the future. This is certainly a time of importance. This is certainly a time of pivotal recognition of life's current events. Does it not remind you a bit of when World War II came to the planet and all of a sudden there was darkness more than ever before? This is when our collective consciousness of angels, light workers, and higher dimensional frequencies knew that we had to come to protect our human family. We understand that this might seem strange to some of you. Maybe it seems as though this is another foreigner or alien, as many in power like to say. You must realize the word alien is meant to fragment, separate, disconnect, and skirt away others, making someone into the other. We want to assure you that we are not of the other, just as people from other lands are not the other. We are one, and we are family. Be not afraid of the smallness of these leaders and propagators of controversy and dissent. Be not afraid of current events. Be not afraid of the carnage that you see occurring in different points of the planet. We are in renewal, we are in redemption, and we are here for you. You may not know our names or understand our frequencies. You will know us by how you feel within. You will trust us by your heart and instincts. We will not feel like foreigners. We will feel familiar. Familiar is a root word of family, and our mission is to remind you that we are family. Going within, listening, meditation, centering oneself, learning the art of transformation, opening up to your spiritual centers and channels, learning to ground, learning to embrace the cosmos whilst in one's physical form. This is the way up and over the current events in your world. This is the way that you can ascend past the lower vibrations and currencies which are currently swirling around in a three-dimensional current around your planet. You must rise above the catastrophe and the lower level thinking, for it is not your truth. Your truth as a soul is to be here during this time to help with the transformation. It is to help your loved ones and your children and your family and friends to feel comforted and assured that this is a time of change. It is a time of progress. It is a time of uplifting. Do not look to the earth and its generations of lower level fragmented thought forms. Look to the skies to bring new thought forms down, to change the thinking and the molecular structure of this planet. Mother Earth is also here with wisdom, character, multi-generational new thought forms which have been planted many, many, many years ago by light beings to help your earth at this time. Do you not know of the pyramids and Stonehenge? These are just to name a few. We have hidden energy pockets of information all around the planet. This is to know that humans would make a catastrophe to a certain extent out of what they have been given, and that ego has run amok. Lower level frequencies, vibrations, and beings have grabbed on to and began to try to devour others' energy. Do not be afraid by these terms or this terminology. It is simply fact. Do not be afraid that, like in many things you've seen, the light always strengthens and the dark always dissipates. So, as we say these strong points around the planet, nothing needs to be done for you, but just to tell you that light workers, both in bodies and all around the planet right now, are activating these reminders, frequencies that help remind you of who you are, awakening to much more than what you currently believe in your thoughts. take time to journal, write down, purge your fears, your worries, your beliefs, and ask for the new to arrive. You see, you already have all of the wisdom within you. It is not something to learn, it is something to remember. And as you awaken, so you will feel our frequencies around you, for we will never push and we will never surround. We will only be welcomed by your asking. We are here for comfort and support. Those of you who would like more information to be able to find out your purpose, this will come. Be centered and grounded. Each day ask how you can help, what you need to learn. Just take it a step at a time, for your step is planted in light and planted in love and wisdom. We ask you to open your heart, embrace love, embrace the frequencies of love around you, all around you, and ask for love. If you feel yourself being pulled out of this space, simply ask that that be released, because the darkness feeds on darkness. I hope this makes sense, yes? Channeling is something anyone can do. You are not special if you do it. You are not different than anyone. This can be done inside of your home, centered in your own chair, simply by asking for this experience to unfold for you. It is simple. We will arrive another time here to share with all of you wisdom, hope, sanctuary, sovereignty. Remember, you are a sovereign being. You do not belong to those that try to chain you down, put you in fear and uncertainty, put you in the life of polarity, pushing between left and right, left and right. Remember, being in the center means being upright, means being clear, means being ascended in a physical form from the heavens. We wish you all a good day. Please come again. We welcome your questions. Okay, I'm going to take a sip of water. I can feel my throat starting to bubble. So those are the Pleiadians. I like to get everybody, I'm trying to make this as commonplace as possible, and making the mystical really something that you would consider to be an everyday thing. Because it's not just for a few people. It's not just for people, maybe I started when I was 20, but there's people that started doing this at the beginning of COVID. So honestly, you can do it too, and your connection can occur. Yes, it's good to have someone helping you facilitate and getting tools, but you can, for certain, evolve and grow with this. And so I welcome your questions. I'm going to be doing this regularly. I just kind of ask, I'm in alignment with them, and I ask them what they want to do. And so I either talk to them, and I also talk to archangels. I am doing a lot of work with Archangel Raphael right now, and also Divine Mother Mary. Just a little bit about that work. I'll be coming up with that in future times, but talking about that. It's a little bit more in depth, but essentially Raphael, it doesn't matter if you're Christian or not, or Catholic, it doesn't matter. Archangel Raphael is essentially a healing angel and archangel, and he really works with everyone on the planet, right? And large groups. And so he historically has really showed up when people need very deep healing and removal of energy and alignment, a lot of things. So I have been working with him lately. I'm going to be starting to teach a class in the fall, and essentially let me see if I can, yay, I know it would be so good, right? So this can be for anybody. Your prerequisite is that you know how to meditate, and I can teach you that in like one of my short courses, and then you can run energy. And then essentially what the whole thing is with Raphael, imagine if you learned Reiki, okay, which is a wonderful modality. This is really based with Raphael, and he particularly right now wants to help all of us remove this heavy kind of programming and genetic, DNA, a lot of past life stuff, things that all of us, if you're around on the planet right now, are struggling with, and we don't necessarily know it, and that's okay. And so the work is that it's a very specific kind of laser focused work that if you're being trained and you get the modality, you will work with me as a mentor, but then you'll be assigned a healing guide, okay? And you'll be that literally, this is going to sound very esoteric, but it does make sense somewhere for people if it rings true for you. You are assigned a healing guide that's already been trained, right, from Archangel Michael. And it's basically, like a Pleiadian, or your spirit guide could have been trained or something like that. And so you're going to work in tandem and then get the training modality and then be able to work on people. And this is what I call the biggest up level I've ever seen as far as energy work goes. Just working with him lately, I've been able to see things that people have been carrying from lifetime to lifetime to lifetime that have really limited them, kept them in fear, and also kept them really more unconscious. That's just a really simple way to say it. And so it's pretty high vibrational. Let me say this, very effective, life-changing, but it is definitely meant to be shared right now. I just feel like, and they're telling me now is the time. So that's what we're going to be working on. And I'm going to be doing a lot of other things on this channel. I'm going to be interviewing people. I'm going to be doing live readings sometimes. There's going to be like a running blog of things that I'm picking up on or connecting in with. I'm also really lucky to be connected with other groups. And so, I'll probably bring people on here who do astrology, human design, a lot of things. There's just so much goodness out there. So it's a network of sharing, and I'm very excited about it all. And if you have any questions, drop them here. I know there's going to be a lot of people catching this on the replay, so just go ahead and I will get back to them over time. It probably takes me a couple days just to get that done, but that's what's going on. I'm grateful for you all. Thank you for coming, and I will see you soon. All right, very good. Take good care, guys. Bye.